Sarah was a shy 15-year-old with long, beautiful black hair that fell to her waist. She loved her silky tresses and took great pride in brushing and styling her hair each day before school. But at school, Sarah was mercilessly teased by a group of bullies for her long locks. They called her names like weirdo and freak and would pull at her hair in the hallways. Sarah begged them to stop, but the lead bully, Amanda, just laughed cruelly. Sarah was afraid to tell her parents about the bullying because she didn't want them to make her cut her hair. But eventually, her mother noticed Sarah becoming more and more withdrawn. When Sarah finally admitted what was happening, her father, Simon, was furious. "That's it," he declared. "We're going to shave your head so those bullies leave you alone." Sarah was shocked and pleaded with him not to cut her hair, but Simon was adamant. He thought it was the only way to protect his daughter. The next weekend, he sat Sarah down in the kitchen and plugged in the clippers. Sarah cried as Simon shaved away all of her long, beautiful locks. She watched mounds of her hair fall to the floor. Soon, Sarah's head was completely shorn, bald and smooth. She looked at her strange reflection in bewilderment. Simon announced, "There, no more hair for those bullies to tease you about." On Monday, Sarah walked to school nervously, wearing a hat to hide her shaved head. But during lunch, the hat was knocked off when Amanda and her friends crowded around to taunt Sarah again. They recoiled in shock when they saw Sarah's bald head. Amanda laughed cruelly. "Ha, you actually shaved off all your hair? What a weirdo." Sarah ran out of the cafeteria in tears, devastated that even with a shaved head, the torment continued. She realized her father's solution only made things worse. Over the next few weeks, Sarah remained isolated and bald. She knew it would take ages for her hair to regrow long again. But she vowed to stay strong and ignore the bullies until her beloved locks returned. The weeks dragged on as Sarah's hair slowly started to grow back. She wore hats to keep her bald head covered at school. The bullies still made snide remarks, but without her long hair to taunt her about, their teasing lost some power. At home, Simon felt guilty when he saw how miserable Sarah was without her hair. He tried to reassure her it would grow back beautiful as ever. But his rash decision had only made things worse for his daughter. After 2 painful months, Sarah's hair finally grew out enough that she could style it into a short bob. She was relieved to stop wearing hats all the time. The bob was nowhere near the length she loved, but it was progress. As Sarah's hair gradually got longer over the next year, so did her confidence. With each new inch, the haunting baldness of those first weeks became further behind her. By the time she started 11th grade, Sarah's hair skimmed her shoulders again. When she passed Amanda and her gang in the halls, their taunts no longer stung. At last, on Sarah's 17th birthday, her mother surprised her by taking her to a salon. There, they had hair extensions put in to restore Sarah's hair to her original long waist-length length. Looking in the mirror, the old Sarah shone through again now that her flowing locks had returned. She learned to embrace what made her unique. Never again would she let bullies dictate how to wear her hair. Even after Sarah's hair grew back long again, her father Simon would still insist on shaving her head every so often. It became a ritual Sarah dreaded. Every few months, Simon would decide it was time for another haircut, convinced the cropped style better protected Sarah from bullying. No matter how she pleaded, he would drag her to the kitchen and buzz off her locks. Each time, Sarah was crestfallen to see her beautiful hair stripped away by the clippers. She knew the bullying had stopped long ago, but Simon refused to give up the shavings. At school, after each buzz cut, Amanda would still sometimes make snide remarks about Sarah's exposed scalp. But Sarah held her head high, no longer ashamed. As soon as she could, Sarah would start growing her hair out again after her dad's forced shearing. When it grew past her shoulders, Simon deemed it time for another cut. By senior year, Sarah found the courage to stand up to her father's bizarre ritual. "No more haircuts," she told him defiantly. "You can't keep controlling how I wear my hair." Simon was taken aback by her boldness. With tears in his eyes, he hugged Sarah close, finally letting go of the urge to protect her by cropping her hair. From then on, Sarah wore her hair proudly long without fear of her father's clippers. Even after high school, Sarah's mother, Liz, continued insisting she keep her hair cropped short. Though the bullying had long since ended, Liz remained convinced the shorn style was best. Whenever Sarah's hair grew out longer than a bob, her mother would usher her to the barber shop in their town. There, the barber would buzz off Sarah's locks into a severe pixie cut. Liz claimed she was doing what was best for Sarah by keeping her hair short. But Sarah hated having her hair sheared off by the barber's clippers every few months. By now, she was a confident young woman who loved styling her long hair in braids and ponytails. But her mother's obsession with chopping it all off remained. Finally, Sarah put her foot down after Liz dragged her to the barber yet again. As the barber prepared to shave her head with clippers, Sarah yelled, "Stop!" She turned to her mother and said, "No more! I won't let you or anyone else cut my hair against my will anymore. It's my choice what to do with my own hair." Liz was stunned into silence. The barber put down the buzzers, unwilling to continue without consent. Sarah was shocked when her mother angrily yelled, "Shut up! You will shave your hair off, and that's final!" Liz grabbed the buzzing clippers from the bewildered barber and advanced towards Sarah. Despite her daughter's protests, Liz roughly shaved off all of Sarah's long hair right there in the barber chair. "It's for your own good," Liz kept insisting as she ran the clippers mercilessly over Sarah's head, reducing her hair to stubble. Sarah cried as she watched years of growth get shorn off by her own mother. She pleaded for Liz to stop, but her mother remained cold and determined. When Liz finally switched off the clippers, Sarah's head was completely bald. Liz commanded Sarah to feel her shaved scalp. "You see? It needed to be done," Liz stated firmly. Sarah left the barber shop shaken and bald, all her lovely locks laying on the floor. She could hardly believe her own mother would violate her autonomy in such a cruel way. In the following weeks, Liz continued monitoring Sarah's hair growth and buzzing it off again whenever it started to lengthen. Sarah's despair deepened, being forced to stay shorn at her mother's whim. But she vowed to save up money and move out as soon as she turned 18. Sarah refused to let her domineering mother control her hair and her life any longer. On her 18th birthday, Sarah packed her bags and left home, free to grow her hair as long as she desired. She never allowed anyone to cut it against her will again. The painful barbershop shearing at her mother's hands remained a haunting memory. In the years after moving out, Sarah avoided going home to visit her mother. She couldn't bear to face Liz after the traumatic forced haircut. Meanwhile, Sarah grew out her hair longer and more beautiful than it had ever been in her youth. She relished having total control over her locks now. One day, Liz showed up unexpectedly at Sarah's apartment, saying she wanted to make amends. Sarah hesitated, but found the courage to let her mother in. Liz cried and apologized profusely for what she had done. "I thought I was protecting you, but I know now how deeply I violated your trust," Liz said. "Can you ever forgive me?" Looking at her mother's sincere remorse, Sarah's anger began to thaw. She replied, "What you did hurt me terribly, but I'm ready to rebuild our relationship if you can accept me and my choices." Liz promised she would never interfere with Sarah's hair or autonomy again. They hugged, both weeping. While the scars remained, Sarah found healing in her mother's apology. Slowly, they worked to mend their bond. At Sarah's wedding years later, Liz proudly helped arrange her daughter's long, flowing locks under her veil. Sarah glanced at her mother's smiling face, feeling grateful they overcame the wounds of the past. Though the memory of that violation stayed with her, Sarah chose forgiveness and found wholeness on her own terms. Hello, friends! I wanted to take a moment to thank you sincerely for watching my videos and engaging with my channel. Your views, comments, likes, and subscriptions mean the world to me and are what motivate me to keep creating content. If you are enjoying my videos, please consider sharing them with your family and friends. Word of mouth is so important for helping my channel grow, so I'd be grateful if you could tell others about me. And if there are any particular topics or stories you want me to cover in future videos, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your input. Your suggestions help shape the direction of my channel. Well, that's all for now. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for your support on this journey. I can't wait to continue connecting with you all through videos as the year continues. Until next time,